Welcome to Bonsteel Bros, Game Pitch Bros. This is a creative series where my brother,
Neil Bonsteel,
and
my brother,
Brian Bonsteel, we pitch video games at each other. These games do not exist, but we will give you the basic idea of how they might exist. They did. Anyway.
What a world that would be. A better world, I think.
Well, something. Anyway, someday we'll stream this, and I think it'll be fun because people can talk to us.
I agree. It's like to be grilled.
Yeah. So speaking of grilling, what are you playing these days?
Man, off of Dark Souls.
Yay!
Finally, right?
I don't need to put any but just a Dark Souls up.
Not yet, but Dark Souls is around the corner. I'm playing Hitman.
Yay.
For the first time. I played Hitman 2, and then Hitman 1 and all the DLC was on sale for like $10. I'm like, you can't say no to that.
It's a silly game.
It's a very silly game, and you would never know if you just looked at the cover.
Bad marketing or good marketing? I don't know.
I think that's the in joke, right? Because I get it now. When I see those ultra serious covers, I'm like, I see what they're getting at.
What are they getting at?
It's kind of like tongue in cheek. That team just like knows what they're doing, knows what they have on their hands, and it just, I don't know. They're just doing their own thing.
That's cool.
But like up until that point, I never realized until I watched, I think it was the Easy Allies playing DLC for Hitman 2, until I realized, oh, this is a silly game. They got Shawn Bean, the actor Shawn Bean.
Shawn Bawn, Seed Bean. You gotta pronounce both his first name and last name are spelled practically the same, all right? There's gotta be some consistency. Is he Seed Bean or is he Shawn Bawn?
All right, Shawn Bawn. So Shawn Bawn shows up. And it's actual model of him in the game.
Oh, yeah?
And of course, the joke is Shawn Bawn dies in everything he's in.
Right.
And so here he is, and you have multiple ways of killing him. But I'm watching as Huber was playing, and Huber gets into a meeting room with Shawn Bawn.
Yeah.
And Shawn Bawn has this huge monologue at this point. Shawn Bawn knows that you're Hitman and there to kill him.
Okay.
And he has this huge monologue of all the ways that Agent 47 could kill him. He's like, yeah, you could poison me, but that would be too easy, wouldn't it? And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's just I was like, this is very silly.
Fun. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's
yeah.
Nice.
What be you up to?
I don't have time for games. No, Animal Crossing is kind of still my jam. I need to get some new games. I haven't had the time or energy this week, so disappointingly, I cannot give you a straight answer on that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to do in your life, and if all you do is play video games, you're going to be kind of limited.
Well, you don't. Oh yeah.
No judgment to those people who do play video games all the time. But
the kind of people who can spend 8 straight hours playing a game are working. I mean,
yes.
That is work. It's like I would get bored after a few hours, especially if you've got a random chat log going and you got to keep up with them if you want to keep their viewers, like, oh, hey, what's up,
yeah.
Turbo Butt 34? Good to see ya. How's your weekend going? Anyway, let's flip a coaster, huh? You want the floppy heads or you want the floppy tails?
I'll go with Floppy Heads.
Floppy heads.
My favorite band.
Yeah, I like them too. Well.
Fell into the pagoda or the koi pond.
I'm gonna come right. It's Miyajima, you uncultured swine.
I know.
All right, hold on.
Looks like I won.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the challenge I received was a giant puzzle game.
Right, I think. Yes.
Yes. Right, we think. I decided to take that quite literally.
Okay.
In this game called Doofus, just a name, you're in charge of building an enormous puzzle.
Okay.
Enormous jigsaw puzzle. Okay? Now, first off, it's 1 to 4 players, maybe more, with each player taking a role in the building. And sometimes you can take multiple roles.
Okay.
As you'll see. So this is how you build your puzzle. Up on top of a mountain is someone in charge of the catapult.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And what the person in charge of the catapult does is choose the next jigsaw puzzle piece they're going to take. They aim the catapult, and then they just fire.
Yeah.
right? With the amount of power and so forth to get farther or closer, as we see here.
Ah, it's a nice looking catapult.
Now, in the distance, you'll see a helicopter with a very generous magnet. So if successful, so again, a very generous magnet, because helicopters are wonky. If successful, the helicopter needs to quickly line up the puzzle piece and drop it in the right place according to what pieces you have down.
You know that piece isn't gonna fit, right? Look at it.
Well, no, they're not a good player. Never said they're good players.
That's okay. That's all right.
Of course, if the helicopter misses a puzzle piece, it's supposed to go flying over, and the helicopter has the option of going to retrieve that and putting it back in the spot.
Okay.
But that's part of it, right? If you get a piece that doesn't fit there, you have to be like, okay, I'm going to put it off to the side.
Right.
And maybe the guy in charge of the catapult should choose a better piece to fling.
Yeah. Cool.
However, in case of failure, don't worry, there are ground units. And these are race cars with bulldozer noses. And what they do is they chase down the loose puzzle pieces.
Oh, look at that.
And they put them in place.
That's good.
And so what happens here is like if they're, and so when you put the right piece into the other piece, it just sort of click, it clicks.
Yeah.
So if a piece goes flying off in the distance, the helicopter misses, these guys can just start in the place. The helicopter misses placement, they go pop it in. Or if the helicopter puts it in the completely wrong place, these guys can push it out.
Okay, cool.
So the game ends when they assemble the puzzle, or when the timer runs out. And I think about it, a minute 30 seconds is probably not enough to do any of this.
No, not unless it's 4 pieces.
Yeah, but they're all running at the same time. So while these guys are doing this, catapult could be lining up in the new shot.
Yeah, I like that typeface. It looks.
Thank you. It
pops. Well, I like it.
That's Doofus.
Hey, very nice.
Thank you.
Wow. So you said multiple players, right?
Yeah.
So would multiple players be manning the ground units or taking the helicopter?
I think you would divide that up.
Or would it rotate?
It could rotate. Well, there lies the thing. Like, the person in charge of the catapult can also take control of the helicopter. So as soon as the catapult fires, switches to helicopter mode.
Okay.
But it might be easier if there's someone else in charge of the helicopter. So they fling it, helicopter grabs it, and then person who's on the catapult duty is suddenly in one of the race cars.
Yeah, I can see that.
So you kind of like, you can switch responsibilities.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's a clever idea. I like it.
I'm not sure if a timer thing would work out, because if you're switching all those roles, it kind of gets kind of weird. But maybe it's more like how long it takes you to assemble the puzzle.
Right. And then you get like rated accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
B+. Good job.
Thank you.
Are there any puzzle pieces that don't fit, or is it really?
Oh, that would be a hell of a troll, right?
Yeah. Because to take it apart, you would have to either drop the magnet onto it. If it's like in the middle of the piece, you'd have to.
Also, I would like to point out this is all. What would be smart is if the puzzles actually had images on them.
Yeah.
So if you saw a piece that did not look like it belonged, you could be like, that's a fake right there.
Yeah.
So if you're, say it's Mario's face, you know, like, okay, that's where his eyebrow starts, eyebrow ends. I know these two pieces go together, so I'm going to shoot those two one after another.
Yeah.
So that obviously would be part of it.
Okay. And then there's some kind of sorting mechanism that the catapult person has where they can.
Yeah, just
like a pack of cards. Okay.
Yeah, probably like you get 5, right?
Yeah.
5 to choose from, then you can figure that out.
Cool. Well.
Yeah, good points. Good points.
Good idea. I like
Thank
this.
you.
I would play this.
Okay.
It's a silly game, but it looks like fun, especially, you know, I don't know. It just has a light Nintendo 64 kind of feel, just based on the graphics at least, and the idea of it is that it's a simple premise, but it can be a lot of sort of zany fun.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. And I want to get the feel like Overcooked, in which you're yelling at each other, like, what are you doing? Oh, you missed. Oh, that was the wrong piece. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And of course, you got the cars. I'm just trying to push it in the right direction. What are you doing? Don't push us there.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well done.
Yeah.
The last week's challenge for me was strange haircut shooter.
How could I forget?
I'll admit I had a lot of trouble with this. In fact, I had so much trouble that I wasn't able to flesh out one good idea. But I have 3 smaller ideas, and I would like your opinion and feedback to help develop one of those 3.
I like this development.
Okay. So, so one idea, strange haircut shooter. One idea is where you're manning. Are you seeing this?
Yes.
Okay. So you're manning a cannon that has several hairstyles filtering in to them. Why? I don't know. But you need to find passersby and strategically fire these things onto their head so that they have to go the rest of their day with these things. And then I guess there'd be like a Pokemon Snap element to it where you have to go catch them at an inopportune time and get a photo of them. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a blackmail game. It doesn't make sense. I don't know, but that's shooting hair. It's like, what? How do you work with that? I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, shooting Elvis on that guy.
What would be fun is not just be able to shoot the hair, but to take the hair as well.
Okay, yeah. And then you'd build up your inventory of hair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, you're swapping hairstyles. What if
hair swap
do like
simulator
a co-op game?
One person steals hair, the other person puts hair on, and it's like and then it's like whoever can have the most at the end of the game. The most bald people versus the most hair people.
So 2 players, right?
Yeah.
And each has either a hair color or a hairstyle, and the style could be 1980s or,
Yeah.
1880s. And so you have a whole world of people, and each of you is trying to populate the world with your hair while stealing the other people's hair. But since it's a category, it's not just like afros, all afros. It's 1980s hair. So looking for mullets.
But turn that into shooter though. That's where I'm getting stuck.
That's where your gun is the headshots, baby. Headshots.
Anyway, so shooting hairstyles onto people, that's one idea. Another one is where you're commanding a pair of scissors and you have to go like space shooter, like doo-doo-doo, shooting particles of hair off of them to build a hairstyle. But I couldn't think of a reason why you'd be doing that. And I can't just chalk it up to aliens, it's like, because aliens, but...
No, okay, I gotcha. So, there's space deities.
Okay.
Right, and you are their space barber.
That's the ticket.
You're like, but you're not a deity yourself. You're just immortal, and you have your ship that just chops hair off. Yeah, I could play out like your rogue squadrons, your Star Foxes, when you got free roam.
Yeah,
you can do it like a top down, but you have freedom like asteroid.
Yeah, that's good. That's
but I guess with the 3D like Star Fox, you have depth.
Yeah. Well, that way you can carve out more intricate hairdos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really where I should have taken it, I think.
All right. Well, that would be crazy and fun.
Yeah. And then the third idea was that you're an old-timey Western barber, and occasionally vigilante, guys come in, you gotta blast them off and then get back to cutting hair. That's the idea. Yeah. Excuse the crude drawing, but you got you get the idea.
I can clearly tell that man is dead.
Yeah, I hope so. No. So between the 3, I think the space shooters
probably is the strongest. Absolutely.
I think of Star Fox or like with Andros, because the big head's right there, so you can, and shave off, and maybe you've got a big razor on the edge of your ship.
Oh yeah, for those.
Blast by it and carve out a piece.
If you had special different weapons, like one way you just do, one way to shoot, then sometimes you can put up not a shield, but some sort of like a shield that just.
You can shoot a thing and braids it.
If there's a knot in the hair, you have to bomb it.
Yeah. Blow up the knots. All right, that's good. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Pursue that.
3 ideas. I don't think there are any bad ideas.
Well,
the only bad ideas are the ones that don't prompt discussion. All right. So, this is my idea.
Okay.
My other idea.
All right.
It's called martial music or tootaloot. Tootaloot, if you will.
Yes.
The game Martial Music is all about medieval warfare. However, in this game, you are not playing as a spearman, an archer, a knight, or even a general, okay? Instead, you play as a musicians.
Oh, poor fellas.
The poor saps who have to play their army into battle.
And they're at the front lines, too.
They are the front lines.
Cannon fodder.
Yeah. So you're basically a campfire. So you start off as a bugler musician, and your only ability is to provide support for your lowly peasant brethren.
Yep.
You have no means of fighting or defense, so you have to accompany your army and stay close to them to stay safe.
Uh-huh.
You accompany them in the battle, and when you play for them, you boost their stats, and that could be, boosting their morale, boosting their attack, stuff like
agility,
that.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff.
So you're playing a support class, basically.
So your peasant spearmen alone don't stand a chance against the knights, but if you inspire them enough, they can persevere.
Aha.
Ta-da! So they battle on their own, and you just have to see where they're needed the most help, and
All right.
do that. So
I can see that.
all right, but during the course of battle, you may run across some loot, like gold or silver or armor left behind, and so this is where you can gain money. Granted, you got to keep in mind you can't get too distracted by this, or your men will fall in battle. So it's one of those things that, like, if you have time to get it, you should, but maybe not. Hold off, because you also gain money from winning the battle. And the less armies you lose, the more money you get. You get ranked and stuff like that.
Right.
So you can spend that money to recruit a musical army. You got your bugler, your drummer, and you got your bagpiper. And each have their own abilities, of course. So, as I said, the bugler could maybe raise defense. The drummer could increase attack. And the bagpiper you can use to drop the enemy morale.
Okay, that's good.
Of course, as seen here. Those are just losing their accuracy across the board. But this is dangerous because you're going behind enemy lines. And I should warn you that you're defenseless, and getting too gutsy is a good way to get yourself killed. Play wisely. The last toot you might play will be your own, whatever that means.
That's good. Is that a horse back there?
Yeah, the horse. I hit it because it's not that great.
I see that. This is good. I like this. So you're playing through the battle, right? You play as you follow your little group as they go into battle. They start battling it out. You're still playing, whatever, and then eventually, presumably, you guys win. So then what happens? Do you loot, and then
as soon as the battle ends,
Oh, okay.
So you have to get, if there's loot, you have to get it during the course of the battle.
Okay.
But at the end of the battle, if you've done a good job, you get more money.
Okay.
Your army says, like, hey, you've done your job, here's some cash.
Do you ever get armor, or are you pretty much defenseless the whole? Okay.
Never. But you can, if you build up enough guys in your army, if one dies, you still have 4 others to keep the thing going. So it's really, you can buy essentially lives.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I like that.
Let's go back to the bagpipers.
It's a very clever idea. All right. Well, funny you should be about buglers, because...
Oh, interesting.
Yep. Like last time we did space and space. Well,
yeah.
This time we're doing music and music. So, here's my basic pitch. You never did marching band, did you?
Nope.
Okay. I would... Some people might say you missed out. Some people might say you were better off without it.
I've heard enough stories to get the gist.
It's a pretty crazy thing, especially when you're, a kid and kind of thrust into this world of suddenly having to...
It's a lot of discipline. Anyway, in this game, this is you. You are part of
a marching band in halftime.
Yes.
Marching band simulator from band camp to regional championships. Can you make it to the top? Marching band is a lot of learning how to move around the field and play instruments at the same time. So while you might have a lot of interesting formations that are happening, you can only control one person at a time. You have to be in the right place at the right time, or you screw up the entire formation and it looks wrong, right? Mm-hmm. So in this game, you have 10 weeks to beat all the other bands in the tournament of band. You have the first 2 weeks as band camp, so plenty of time to make mistakes and stuff where there's nothing really at stake, but you want to get up to speed, make sure you learn all your drill, where to be, and music cues where appropriate. After the first 2 weeks, you start off on halftime shows with your local crappy football team, between them playing, and suddenly you start getting a little bit of an audience. You're playing in front of parents mostly. But by the 5th week, you play your first exhibition. Now this is where you test yourself out against other bands and see where you stack up. I don't know how many bands there are in the region, but you'd be playing against a few others, and really their rankings are more important than their show itself. If you really want, you can watch a show of some amateur things, but probably not worth it. The fact is, you're more focused about your own performance and being the best that you can be. The basic mechanic is little dots on the ground. In this case, see the orange dot? Well, you better get there. How are you going to do it? Well, you just follow the point that you're on, which you already landed on, and it gives you a general idea of go this way. So, bing, good. On to the next one. Here is a drill sheet. Okay, so this is page set 1. And you'd be given all of these in advance so you can study them between weeks. In this case, you are on point 1 here. These other dots here are other people around you, so you can use them as reference. So you've got 4 counts to make it from point 1 to point 2. So in that movement, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're there. That should be green. So anyway, now you're at number 2. And now you've got count 2 counts to get to point 3, where you hold for 4. So I know it sounds confusing, but each set will be a different layout of where performers are on the field. So as long as you follow where you're supposed to be and pay attention to where the other guys are, you should be okay. If you're in the general area, you'll be fine. As you progress, these markers will disappear.
Ooh.
By later weeks, you better know where you're going to be without markers on the ground. But you'll get there. It takes practice, as long as you're watching the drum major. Now, drum majors have... you got to watch the drum. You got to be in time, right? So drum majors do this basic 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're watching him the whole time from down here. So you've got... I don't know if I probably should have put some markers on here, some more markers so you know what's going on. Like a number on this little dot, like 2, because after 1, 2, you should be there. However, just because you're right doesn't mean other people are. So you see this guy over here, he's not in line. So he needs to be corrected. So maybe there's a mechanism by which you control other characters and go through the process of doing the set to get them in the right place too. Everybody has their own set of instructions.
May I suggest something?
Please, go ahead.
Master mode.
Master mode, huh?
After you complete the first campaign, you become the guy in charge.
The drum major?
The drum major, but since you have an overview of everyone.
Yeah.
This way, you're more in charge of everyone in the right place.
Okay.
So what could happen is if you see someone slowly going out of place or someone out of place, like you go into a slow motion mode.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go, click that one, and you're in that character and you get them in the right spot.
Ah, that's good.
And you go back to your normal mode.
That's good. That's a good way to get around people being in the wrong spot. Because as it stands, if you're doing everything right, then it looks good and everything's fine. But if you're in the wrong place, then your overall score will go down and you will not beat the tournamental band at the end of it. I think those little reactions from other people around you are important because they'll give you cues when these markers are gone that you're not doing quite the right thing. You know, if they're expecting to see somebody there and you're not there, so
that's pretty clever.
That's part of marching band is like using people as references. So I thought part of that as well would be that you could place a marker on somebody, like
track this one.
Yes, a little tag on him, so that later in the set you see him in a certain place. You know where you're supposed to be because you recognize that tag. So you can place markers on people, and as long as you can be in the right place at the right time, everything should be okay. And you'll get to the top.
I don't think there's a game out there like this.
I don't think so either.
I like it a lot.
Oh, and if you get in people's way, then ragdoll physics start taking place. You start piling people up, like this whole movement, people maybe walking backwards. If you're just standing there, they'll start flopping on top of each other and making a big mess. Yeah.
I do like, that's great how things can go from okay to uh-oh to like a mess in an instant.
This is inspired by seeing one of these guys with a bass drum trip and roll over the drum. In high school, this happened. And then the band director ran over. He's like, is the drum okay?
I would think so, because that person just used their body to cushion the entire drum. Wouldn't that be a cool move? Like all the drum guys like jump forward, roll, and pop back up.
Now, if there was a make your own sequence kind of thing.
I had a note on that.
That would be something.
What if after master mode, you go into
designer mode,
ultimate master mode, in which you could design your own patterns, and depending on how it moves in there, it gets more the more complex, the more points you.
Yeah.
So I assume like Guitar Hero or something like that, you get to choose a choreography, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
With like obviously easier ones and the more difficult ones, and
a lot of it's royalty free. I mean, a lot of classical music ends up on that stuff.
Or maybe it's you just have different songs and like 3 different choreographies for each. Easy, medium, hard, easy, medium, hard.
Yeah, you could do that. That would certainly make it a lot easier.
What if there was a story mode in here?
Okay.
Because you kind of have it set up in such a way that you have your different phases, right?
Yeah, you're developing through the course of it.
And if there's a story in there in which you have side missions.
Oh.
And one side mission is infiltrating your competitor and ruining their show.
Okay. Yeah, you dress up in their uniform and sneak in.
Go out on
and
stage
wander around.
and just try to mess up as best as possible.
That could
and
be
since
a
you got
lot of fun.
ragdoll physics, you can like make that mess you were talking about.
Yeah. I'm excited to see that mess happen because I've seen it before and it's hilarious and awful and great. So that's a Marching Band Simulator.
I like it. It's
Thank
a lot
you.
of fun.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your input on that because that kind of stuff is really helpful in conceiving what I would do to make it a reality. Because, I don't know, it could be fun. It could be silly.
I think it definitely be fun. I think silly is the best part. So, you just say the physics and it's like, I'm in! Ragdoll physics.
The physics are definitely a nice plus. But yeah, real marching band is a lot of memorizing stuff and thinking back, it's like, wow, that would have been nice if there was a marker on the ground I could have just looked at. Because damn, it was you had to keep bringing up this big sheet of papers, like where am I? All right, so do you want to explain what the dealio is there?
Yeah, so next week, Brian and I will have to come up with a game based on chance.
Yes.
First part of that chance is we decide the genre through the spinning wheel, and after that, our opponent / co-host decides. We use a random noun generator to decide the subject of said genre game.
Leave it to chance.
That said, leave it to chance. That said, I am spinning for Brian. So,
say when.
Spin the wheel!
Party game.
All right, yeah, this is your first party game.
This is my first party game. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Clickety clack.
Clickety clack, get in my sack. Shiggity shag, get in my bag.
Ooh.
Survival horror.
There you go.
Okay.
That's different.
New. Okay, I will generate some random words. Badoo. Root, remunerate, advocate, normal, dull, greet, scan, check, B.
E?
B
I don't know. It's a
is not is
party game.
a noun.
Party game based on.
Deserve spontaneous gossip. Ooh.
Oh.
Nightmare. Oh, okay. We got
Party games.
party
eh?
game. Kind of like nightmare.
Nightmare party game.
I'm going to call it a spontaneous nightmare party game. The spontaneous is suggested.
Yes, yes. Just as garbage was suggested or strange haircut was.
Yeah.
But nightmare is the main bit. Okay.
If you drop spontaneous, that's okay. The marketers will still use it in the advertising.
Sure they will.
Okay, speaking of nightmare, time for my survival horror. Extraterrestrial laborer.
Extraterrestrial labor. I like extraterrestrial. I like that art. All right, let's see. Survival horror. So I think a laborer, survival horror.
Laborer, survival horror.
Yeah.
That's pretty broad, but you know
It is
what?
broad, but it's not as broad as planet or as overused as extraterrestrial. Yeah, let's go with laborer. See what
Okay,
happens.
laborer, survival horror.
Yeah, you're all about farming and all that good stuff. All right, so we'll check in next episode. We'll see what happens, and
Hey, if you liked it, drop a like. If you didn't like it, you don't have to just like, but
free country. Do what you want.
you do what you want. Leave a comment.
Leave a comment.
Let us know what you
Why
want to see.
not? Yeah.
See more of, see less of.
See less of us.
All that
then
good stuff.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, if you want to see less of us,
We'll wear masks.
there's that X button just right up there.
But first, like us. Please like us.
Yeah, if you're gonna never watch us again, at least leave a like, you
All right.
barbarian.
Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next
Thank you.
time. This has been Bonsteel Bros Gameplay Pro. See you next time. Bye.
Bye. Peace. Yeah, pagodas? What the heck is a pagoda? I'm gonna think of a gazebo. Are there gazebos? There's got gazebos in Japan. They're probably called something else though.